Asbestos Road. Okay. Right next to Poison Boulevard. We are passing Asbestos Road. The world of magical, made-up internet commenter finances will tell you that owning a 911 any less than a GT3 is foolish. Just turn in your enthusiast card or sell a kidney. Today, I'm going to present the counter-argument to that. The 2025 911T. It is the least powerful 911 in the lineup. And I'm going to explain why that doesn't matter. The engine is the same 3-liter twin-turbo you'll find in the Carrera, producing 388 horsepower and 331 pound-feet of torque. Porsche says it will hit 60 miles per hour in 4.3 seconds, but that's probably a lie. Only one transmission is available, a crisp 6-speed manual instead of that last car's crunchy 7-speed. Nearly 3/4 of 911T buyers chose the 3-pedal version, so Porsche just went with the majority. The car sits 10 millimeters lower than the Carrera. The dampers are retuned. It gets its own anti-roll bars and even steering ratio. 6-piston brakes replace the outgoing car's 4-pots, and rear steer now comes standard. That's all affected the price as well, but we'll get to that. And it's light. Spec carefully, and you can get a car weighing less than 3,300 pounds, 60 pounds lighter than a PDK Carrera. But weight is not the whole story. The story is engagement, because they made the glass lighter, they took out the sound deadening, they added sport exhaust, standard, you get a limited slip diff. All of that is because this is the driver's car. And that's why it only comes in a manual. If you want a PDK, you can get the Carrera, and the Carrera is fine. The Carrera is the entry, daily driven 911, a great thing to commute in, sporty enough that you won't feel kind of out of sorts on a back road. But I love that Porsche looked at their market and they gave us a gateway drug. It's a gateway 911. Before you can afford a GTS or a GT3, you can get this. And honestly, you don't need the GTS. One, the GTS only comes with PDK now because it's a hybrid. Two, it has 180 more horsepower. It's over 500 with the hybrid system. This is enough. This is 388 horsepower. It's up 17 from the last car, which is not really anything. In fact, it's barely changed since the first generation 911T in 2018. New for this one, we've got shifting linkage bushings and a bunch of other stuff from the GT3. Now, it is a different transmission from the GT3, they told me on this trip. The GT3 has different synchros, different gears. Obviously, if you get the ST, it has a different flywheel. But everything that connects your hand to that transmission is basically, their words, the same as the GT3. And that means that the connection you feel to the mechanism is much better. They have a 2023 911T here, and I drove it for 2 minutes just to feel the shift action. And it is as I remember. It's a little crunchy. That shifting mechanism is like a snare drum. There's just a little bit of brrr every time you shift. This is, it's when you lock that snare. It's just one hit. Everything is one notch, one hit. It's much better. Rear steer is standard. The car feels more agile. Now, I have a conspiracy theory about why this car has rear steer as standard. It doesn't want to step on the ST's toes. I brought this up at dinner. They wouldn't agree, but there were some looks. Because this car has so many good pieces, and it is the only 911 sold with a manual besides the GT3 series. So they couldn't give it everything. And the rear steer is nice, and it helps with agility, and it helps you with U-turns and livability. But it's just not quite as pure. And it's amazing that adding equipment is actually a way to compromise it against its more expensive sibling. Sounds good. All right, let's talk about power band. Power band is very flat. Max torque is under 2,000 RPM. and the thing pulls and pulls and pulls all the way. Redline is above 7,000, although peak power is 6,500. And with these big tires, I am not really wanting for speed. On a road like this is enough power. More power would not really help me go any faster. You can carry such good speed through these corners. Brake pedal is firm, but it's pretty talkative. 6-piston brakes are good, no fade today. We've got Porsche Torque Vectoring Plus, controlling the brakes and, tightening one brake to help us turn in or another brake to help us turn the other way. This car has just enough stuff. Steering feedback is pretty good for an e-Pass system. The ergonomics are nearly perfect, and it is fast enough to keep you entertained for years and years. I do have some complaints. I'm not just a total cheerleader for this thing. Inside, I love the presence of hard controls. I just got out of the Taycan GTS a couple hours ago, and everything in there is controlled by screens. Everything. This, we got toggles for the volume, for the temperature, for the fan speed. I got hard buttons here for my sport exhaust, PASM, and traction control. I love it. I love it. This makes the car timeless. And the fact that some companies have recently announced that they're going to start moving away from touchscreens and going back to buttons means that this is both a nod to the past and also a look into the future. It's great. My second complaint is the gearing is a bit tall. Reminds me of, the Spider, the 718s. We've got the 6-speed, but whatever the ratio is, I wish it was shorter. I've been driving this road mostly in third gear. I can go to second sometimes, but I'm not doing that much shifting. And this is a medium open canyon. It'd be the same thing if you're at Angeles Crest or pretty much anywhere else. Gearing is just a bit tall. But man, what a good car. As I said, the problem with the internet is a lot of times people will say, if you're gonna get car X, just get car X plus, or get car Y. Just get the more expensive one, even if that second car is way more expensive. Well, for a lot of us, money is real and percentages matter. To jump to the GTS is a big jump. Sure, you get 150 more horsepower. You get a bigger engine. You get a hybrid system. You get PDK. But if what you're looking for is driver enjoyment, you will not be missing out. And you will not feel slow. 0 to 60 is in the 3s, according to Car and Driver. Porsche says it's like 4.3 or 4.1. Every time a magazine has tested this, it has beaten Porsche's advertised time by nearly half a second. And honestly, unless you are drag racing your 911, frequently you will not care. This car is plenty fast. And by the way, there are companies that will help you get more power from these vehicles if you want it. And let's remember, Porsche considers this a touring car, as do I. This is a car you could drive every day comfortably. About 25% of 911T customers do. You could also drive it across the country, across a state, on road trips, on rallies, and it's very comfortable. If you turn the sport exhaust off, which is standard now, it's pretty quiet in here, despite the reduced sound deadening and the lighter glass. So because of those attributes, you want to get a comfortable seat. Don't get the fixed bucket. You can still take the 18-way or even these seats on a track. I'm just here to say that if all you can afford, and granted this is a pretty expensive car, if all you can afford is this, do not feel left out. The company put a lot of effort into making the car feel right, perform right, and turn right. And they've succeeded. So I don't fall in love with cars because of their investment value. I fall in love with them because of how they make me feel and how much fun I have driving them. If you buy this, you're in the club, in my opinion. And it shows that you really care about driving. So, well done. Good car. Good car. Good car. The engine's good. That brings us to the price. The 2018 911T started at $103,000. This one starts at $134,000. And if you want the soft top, it's another $13,000 on top of that. This car has $20,000 of options, but I would skip most of them. The blue bits inside and out, plus the night vision, is most of that cost. Make no mistake, that's a lot of money. But adjusted for inflation, this car's base price is only $5,000 more than that 2018 car. For that $5,000, you get a proper 6-speed transmission, better brakes, 18 more horsepower, and rear steer. That alone is a $2,000 option on other Porsche products. The inflation topic has been covered on other more qualified channels, but if you think Porsche is price gouging, it's not. It is expensive. The competition at this price includes the Corvette Z06, Cadillac CT5V, or M3 Competition xDrive, all of which make a lot more horsepower than the 911T, but also weigh significantly more. And people have never bought Porsches solely because of their horsepower. And while it is expensive, the 911T is nearly half the price of a GT3 while delivering a lot of the same pleasures. At its core, this car tickles every sense a driver wants touched while remaining comfortable enough for everyday life. It is a bridge between old school ways and modern comforts, and I think that will make it an evergreen machine.
And remember, always fight your tickets on the Off the Record app available in the Android and iOS store, or go to offtherecord.com/TST.